Alright, welcome to the showcase of my 4th ever rank 3 7-star champion, Gladiator. Now, Gladiator post-buff is honestly just night and day, I feel like. Before he was buffed, when he, just came out, there was a lot of, issues with the champion, and the fact that he beat White Tiger in a very close poll, people weren't really happy to see this character, right? But I was still optimistic that maybe one day he'd get a massive buff, and what do you know, he got a massive buff and he is just incredible now. So yeah, here we have some Battlegrounds gameplay. There is a very nice crit, and there's a 38-second future Ant-Man fight. You'll love to see that. He is a very speedy character now, but fight time aside, here is why I like Gladiator so much now, because with Gladiator being actually practical in my opinion, I think this makes me more confident to take fights I wouldn't even consider Gladiator good for. For example, right here, this Nick Fury. When you think of Gladiator, you don't think of countering Nick Fury, right? But you're gonna see that he actually works pretty dang well, and it's crazy because Gladiator's buff, I feel put a focus on those tech armor up characters, but in reality, he takes a lot more than just that. And for example, right here, there's a nice SB2 into second life now. The unblockable was still there, so I used that to get him out of his passive phase. And yeah, here he drops the SB2, I go for that, and we're looking pretty good here. I get the intercept, and this should do it after one more special 2-bait. And yeah, that was a 53-second Nick Fury fight. Very good stuff there. Now I have this Photon matchup, an Ascended Photon, and what do you know, Gladiator is pretty good for this fight too. Now, this one's an odd one, right? Because, Photon doesn't seem ideal for Gladiator, especially because whenever you stun her, she has that phase passive that Gladiator cannot bypass until he has the SP2 active, right? But thankfully, because of his new awakened ability, he does bypass the first phase cycle, so that's honestly pretty sweet because it lets that ramp up really start to get going immediately. And now that we have our 21 charges, we're just in a very good spot here, so I go for the relic into a combo, and yeah, I'm going to bout the heavy attack here. I drop my heavy attack there, and then I drop the SP2, and it does just enough to finish off the fight. Overall, a pretty clean one, and that was sub 50 seconds, so not too shabby in the slightest. Here I have this Killmonger matchup, and at this point I'm just okay, this man isn't just a tech counter, right? He's doing a lot of different fights. He's taking Photon, he's taking Killmonger. This man isn't just for the tech armor up characters. And honestly, that's pretty sweet because Gladiator back then, that was his main use. But the issue was, even in those matchups, he wasn't even that good for it, right? But now Gladiator isn't just good for those matchups, he's great for a ton of different matchups as well. And yeah, here's this rank 2 Killmonger. Honestly, a pretty fun fight. Just gotta utilize our special attack punish damage into the SB2. I missed the first hit, which is annoying, but it's fine because we're still doing pretty good here. And yeah, go back in, do a nice chunk of damage right there, and then the fight is essentially over now. So yeah, 47 seconds, honestly pretty good for a Killmonger matchup. And now we have this Iron Man Infinity War. Now, my friend here has a rank 3 Iron Man, which is terrifying obviously, but like I said, Gladiator was made for these matchups. He was meant to counter these armor up characters, right? So yeah, you're gonna see that he does a pretty good job at doing this. The vigilance is why, because whenever the vigilance is active, he reduces the ability accuracy of armor ups by 100%. So yeah, any armor up, even if it's passive, for example Iron Man's right here, it will just get countered completely. So yeah, that's why he's so good for these fights. At Sig 1, it's a full lockdown, so yeah, he doesn't even need Sigs for that matter. The signature levels just increase the starting vigilance duration. But here I drop the SB2, some nice burst damage there, and yeah, go for the relic into a combo real quick, and this should do it. Yeah, honestly pretty clean. Go back in, do a nice chunk of damage there, and that was a 46-second rank 3 Iron Man Infinity War takedown. Pretty fun stuff there. Now we have this Killmonger again. Yeah, just a pretty fun fight with Gladiator. When I first did it, I was this is honestly like I was a bit torn, right? I was like, okay, this fight does look good on paper, but I feel like it can go south pretty fast. And it was because of his SP1. Because if I try to hit his block there, I can't, right? Because he'll go unstoppable and he would just destroy me. So yeah, I have to watch out for that. Don't want to get don't want to get destroyed here in this fight. But it goes pretty good, like besides, waiting out the SP1 stuff, but that's whatever. They would get a crit, which is surprising because Killmonger has that crit res, but yeah, I'll take it. And yeah, that burst damage is just so powerful, and this matchup is essentially over now. So that was another very fun one, another like 47-second one or something, so pretty sweet stuff. Now we have this Iron Man again, just like a final showcase of like this Iron Man fight, but this one's actually in the Gladiator circuit because I want to show like how even despite being gimped for 20 seconds, he still puts up pretty good times. So yeah, this Gladiator circuit meta is not for Gladiator, obviously, because he does essentially nothing for 20 seconds, which is pretty annoying, right? But once those 20 seconds are up, there I got hit, but it's whatever. But I'm like, yeah, once those 20 seconds are up, it is back to just, normal Gladiator stuff, and he becomes a beast again. So yeah, here I drop my SP2 in a second here after I get another combo going into the unblockable heavy attack. Then I drop it here, some nice burst damage, some nice crits as well, and yeah, into the relic, and a beautiful combination right there. Still like, what, 40 something seconds, honestly pretty sweet. Here we have another Iron Man, another Fistcuffs Iron Man. Now this one's a healthier finish, but like it took a bit longer, which is okay. Yeah, he's not going to be like the fastest champion in this meta, obviously, because he can't do anything for 20 seconds, but yeah, he still does his job pretty well. And he lets Iron Man get the armor ups like initially, right? But like once that SB2 is down, it is just a complete lock, right? And this is like kind of showing how unduped Gladiator is. Now I think Gladiator is fantastic unawakened, but yeah, when he's max sig, he is a much better control character when it comes to armor ups. But even though like he really wants like those sigs, at like mid sig he's still doing pretty good as well. But yeah, here I dropped the SP2, no crits, but it's fine because look at that burst damage, man. It is just incredible, and this matchup is over. 50 something seconds, but a healthier finish, so I'll take it. And now we have the Shuri here just to end it off, and yeah, he is a great Shuri counter because she goes untouchable, but he has that vigilance, so yeah, pretty good for that. However, if the Shuri is awakened, be careful because she can block unblockable special attacks. Now, I wish that Shuri's kit was like she can't block cosmic unblockable special attacks, but hey, that's just Shuri for you, right? Like super overpowered. She's been like that. She's just always been like that. And she drops SP2 here, no big deal, and we're kind of just chilling. I go back in. I try to, but she's being super passive, so I just drop the relic instead. Then I go into the heavy attack, into the SP2, get a nice crit there, and yeah, the matchup is over. But yeah, a very fun fight there. And now we have some Alliance War gameplay, which is, a bit unusual for me because I don't post about Alliance War anymore because I just don't like that game mode necessarily. But hey, a Gladiator fight is a Gladiator fight. Here I have a Power Star 1 boost active, and yeah, here's where the dupe matters, because whenever he is awakened, he starts with that vigilance, which means that the armor ups are countered ASAP, and that means there is like pretty much zero risk in this fight. So yeah, here I go in, here I drop the SP2, and we're looking pretty good right now. And now the vigilance is up, like the longer duration one, so yeah, we have that pretty much complete control of the armor ups, which means this fight is now a joke essentially. And here I just drop a combo into the heavy attack, and that just does it. And that was like a 30 something second Alliance War fight, which is, pretty dang nuts. But now we have this Golem Vision fight, and this is like it's like a burst damage check. Like it's okay, can Gladiator do this fight before like he gets SP3'd essentially? And that's the test here. We're just gonna test like how good his damage output is, and spoiler alert, it's honestly pretty sweet. So yeah, here we can just like play it chill, not give him too much power by building up our confidence by hitting the block, and you know, doing that just minimizes his power gain while also ramping our confidence like normal. So yeah, that was the game plan here, and hey, it does work pretty well, but he's just being a bit stingy, which is annoying. But there he drops CSP2, which is perfect, and now it's time to start doing our, you know, very nice damage. So here I dropped the SP2, a nice 31,000 crit, and yeah, so far so good here, man. Just gotta go in now and just hope that he doesn't get the synthesis, but he did get it just at the perfect time for us. So I go back in, we have the unblockable to utilize there, into the relic, and yeah, I do a slow combo here to get my unblockable back up. It's now back up, so I drop the SP2 one more time, and yeah, use the unblockable again, and that is Gauntlet Vision down in 1 minute and 5 seconds. Honestly, a nutty fight right there, and like a true test of like overall DPS. And now we have this Gauntlet Mcoc fight. Now this has Specialist 1, so my Special 2 does less damage, so I'm gonna try to focus on the SP1, but I don't do that well. as you see later on in the fight, yeah, I don't remember about Specialist 1, so I do get like, you know, screwed a bit, but it's fine because Gladiator still does some pretty sweet damage. Nice 27,000 burst damage right there. And yeah, so far so good, right? Wrong, because I got to 2 bars of power, I dropped the SP2, and it does like 0 damage, so that's fantastic. But it's fine. Like, we still have, you know, we still have some incinerate damage. We have the SP1 ready now, so I drop it, and it does some pretty good damage, a nice 24,000 crit. Go back in here, and yeah, it's looking pretty nice now. Just sucks that, like, you know, I wasted like 2 bars of power, but it's okay. Yeah, I go back in here. We have some nice crits right there, and yeah, just trying to finish off the fight. It's taking a bit of time, but it's okay. Still a pretty fast fight overall because, you know, it's Gladiator, but here I drop the heavy attack into one more SP1, and that just does it. And that was like, what, 1 minute and something? Yeah, like not even 1 minute and 10 seconds, so yeah, still pretty good. And here we have this Gauntlet Thing fight. Now, this one's a pretty cool one, because, you know, Gauntlet Thing is pretty annoying to deal with, obviously, it's Thing, but Gladiator is honestly pretty good for countering Thing in general, because his burst damage is a great way to, like, just, you know, chip at Thing, because if you try to use, like, you know, big yellow numbers, it just won't work against Thing. So yeah, he's a good counter for that reason. Besides that, just, you know, he's like nothing too, like, flashy against Thing. He's just, you know, a character that like works because his damage form is like DOT based. But yeah, still a very fun fight, and this was just like a perfect played one, to be honest. Like, I don't want to give myself too much credit, but yeah, this couldn't have gone any better essentially. And here I go back in, do some nice burst damage as per usual, drop my SP2, and yeah, some nice incinerates there, some nice extra energy damage there, and yeah, he drops the SP2. Very funny SP2. I still love it to this day. But yeah, the fight's like almost over now. He's just being really passive because of Oscillate, but now he's in that aggressive phase, so that's perfect for us. And I get the intercept here, and yeah, one more SP1 should do it, but it doesn't really matter right now anyway, because yeah, the fight's over. So yeah, we're chilling. That was like 1 minute again. So yeah, like 1 minute gauntlet fights is honestly really impressive. But now we have Winter of Woes here. We have this Danny Moonstar fight, and this one is honestly very funny because there's this playstyle that Gladiator has, and I don't like this playstyle because it's just not practical, but for like scenarios like this, it's honestly pretty funny. So like, she's gonna drop the SP2, no big deal, and once we get to 20 confidence, we're gonna drop our SP1, get the unstoppable, and you're gonna see what happens afterwards. It's very goofy, right? And it does do like good damage, obviously. It's just you take a lot of damage yourself as well. So like for battlegrounds, this rotation is not good. But yeah, for like, you know, just questing, it's honestly pretty hilarious. Like, it is pretty satisfying as well. Here I drop it again, and yeah, she's gonna drop the SP2, go in, drop some combos, and yeah, just hammering away at like Danny Moonstar here. So yeah, just like rinse and repeat that, and it's doing some pretty good damage, but like we're also taking some damage as well. So it's like, is it worth it for questing? I guess, because like your health doesn't really matter, but like for battlegrounds, of course it does matter a ton. So yeah, it's just like a for fun type of thing. It does have its uses for sure, like against Null or something, or against Rintra especially. But yeah, here I dropped the SP2, nice 26,000 crit, and this matchup is over. So a very satisfying one there. And now we have some path fights for just like Act 8 and stuff. Here we have the 6th Sense node, and this is like all about auto block, right? And Gladiator, he has a pretty interesting auto block counter, because at base he does have, you know, access to unblockable, but here's the other thing. If the opponent auto blocks you while they're intimidated, that's just free ramp up, right? Like that doesn't really affect you, it just helps you. So yeah, that's why I feel like he is a pretty good auto block counter, because even if the opponent auto blocks, he still benefits from it, right? And yeah, so you're gonna see that once we drop the SP2, because of Incinerate vulnerability, it's just going to be game over, and yeah, just completely dealt with there. We go back in, and yeah, drop a 62,000 heavy attack, but of course the numbers are inflated here, so yeah, just a pretty goofy matchup all around. Here we have this Chavez on the same node, and yeah, America Chavez, not too bad for Gladiator apparently. Of course it can go south like very, very quickly, but if the Intimidate chooses to Intimidate, it's gonna do its job, and like she won't throw any heavy attacks. So yeah, it's a pretty fun matchup for that reason. We just keep on, you know, getting our confidence up, and here she drops the SP2, which is no big deal. And yeah, we go back in here, she auto blocks, it's perfectly fine because we don't care about auto block. Here I drop the SP2, no crits, but it is what it is. Here she drops the SP1, gets some nice burst damage there, and this matchup is pretty much over now. A very fun one for sure. Drop another heavy attack, and you know, America Chavez taken down by Gladiator. You'll love to see it. A bit surprising, to be honest. Now we have this this weird node. It's like it's can't stop, won't stop, but like some extra stuff as well. But I want to showcase the really weird playstyle where like Gladiator gets unstoppable and then just starts hammering away during the special attacks. It's honestly really funny. Like I said, is it practical? Not necessarily, but hey, if it works, it works, right? So that's just how it is. Here Odin drops the SP2, but since I have no unstoppable, it does pretty much no damage, so it's fine. But once I get it, like once I get the unstoppable, yeah, we're gonna start doing some very, very nice damage. And check this out. We go in, do like 4 bursts of damage, and then do a 5th one right there. So that's insanely satisfying, obviously. We drop the SP1 again. Here he just, you know, keeps on blocking, then he drops the SP2 one more time, and yeah, just a very, very funny fight, and a pretty fast one at that as well. And this one is like safer because we didn't have to, like, you know, take any damage, because Odin's SP2 is just a really weird one like that. But now we have this 8.4 lane, and this one is pretty interesting, but it's kind of just like a generic lane that Gladiator does very, very well. And this has Turn the Tide, which is basically whenever there's like this icon for a special attack, it does like extra damage, but if you use a different special attack, it does like literally 0 damage. So yeah, watch out for that. But yeah, this matchup it's going pretty good so far. I get that little burst. I should have got that burst damage, but I didn't, so that's not cool. But here I go in, do a light ending combo, then do a medium ending combo to get like the SP2 icon, and yeah, then I drop the relic into the SP2 after this heavy attack, and yeah, some pretty nice damage there. It's nice 17,000 crits. There I get that burst damage, and we are now chilling. So very, very fun fight. But this one, while it was cool, there is a cooler one that is coming up right now. Here we have this Lady Deathstrike fight, and Lady Deathstrike is an odd champion because so she has like this ability where on special attack she like regens pretty much all the damage, right? But with Gladiator, he completely counters that, because one, he shuts off like the initial armor up, right? But not only that, if the damage that was dealt was true damage, she doesn't regen at all. So yeah, Gladiator with the Vigilance does true damage on every single hit. So that's like really overpowered, obviously, because it bypasses like resistances. It bypasses like, you know, pretty much anything. It just sets like everything to 0. And yeah, that's like really overpowered, obviously, right? But yeah, very fun fight there. But now we have some Act 8 bosses. Here's this Red Skull, and this is like where the signature ability is pretty dang good, because when the fight starts, Red Skull has no armor ups, which means you can get like your confidence built up before he gets the first armor up. So yeah, like that's why he's honestly a pretty great Red Skull counter when awakened, and it's also why like there's a good argument to say that, you know, Gladiator does want to be Sig 20, like he kind of needs it for like his best matchups, that is. But I feel like even at like, you know, Sig 0, he's still a very, very good champion, right? But yeah, here he drops the SP1. We go back in, get that 39,000 crit, which is honestly pretty crazy. And yeah, so far so good here. Just have to bait out like one more SP1 and then drop my SP2, and that'll do some pretty nice damage, I think. I hope anyway. But it is Gladiator, so I think we're chilling. There the first hit misses, but then that's a 38,000 crit, so like it made up for it for sure, right? And before like I learned about, okay, so I did this fight before I learned about a trick about, you know, like Gladiator and the SP2. If you drop your heavy attack, dash back, and then dash back in immediately, the opponent will just block. So like that first hit won't whiff. So yeah, I didn't know that in this fight, so that's why like I missed that first SP2 hit. But yeah, once you learn that, it's honestly so clutch, because that extra damage output does matter, obviously. But yeah, here I dropped the relic into the heavy attack, into the SP2, and yeah, the fight is now over. A very fun fight, and yeah, like 1 minute and 31 seconds as well, so not even that like slow. That's honestly pretty fast for an Act 8 boss. And speaking of fast, we have this Vulture boss. Now this one is a bit goofy, right? Because Vulture is Incinerate immune, and this node gave him like increased ability accuracy to his armor up, so like we couldn't like, you know, stop it, which by the way is like one con to Gladiator. He is like vulnerable to increased ability accuracy. But yeah, this fight though is pretty sweet, because once we drop the SP1 and we get that unstoppable, you know what time it is, right? It's time to just start doing a ton of damage with that, like, you know, special attack punish damage. Like, it's 40,000 in this fight, which is insane, right? But here I'm going to drop the heavy attack, or no, I'm just going to drop the SP1 right here. And then look at what happens now. He's going to drop the SP1, I go in, do a ton of hits, and yeah, it's a very fun time. Here he does it again, I go back in, get some nice burst damage there yet again, and this matchup is over essentially. I drop another SP1, and he's almost out of bar of power, but it's pretty much game over now, so yeah, didn't really matter in the end, and a nice 41,000 crit to end the fight as well. Pretty sweet stuff. And now we have this Howard the Duck boss. This one's a bit crazy, because he has like this node where every 15 seconds he alters between like this evade passive, where like he has a 100% chance to evade any basic attack, and then this miss passive where he has a like guaranteed chance to miss any single special attack. Now for Gladiator, he does counter both, because he does have Cold Snap and he also has Vigilance, but for this fight I'm going to utilize the Vigilance, because, you know, the SP2 is just a lot cooler in my opinion. So yeah, let's just do that. And here we're just building up confidence right now, and he's going to drop the SP1, and if he does do it, will he do it? Let's see. The answer is maybe, maybe not, I don't know. And this guy timed it to where it, like, you know, lines up with the indestructible and the unblockable. So like if we had our 20 confidence, we couldn't do the special attack punish, because it would do 0 damage. So yeah, that's kind of messed up by Howard the Duck. But yeah, here I go in, drop the SP2, and it does some pretty nice damage. But now check this out. Look at that burst. It's pretty sweet. But yeah, like it's a ton of damage, man. It's so helpful for Gladiator. And this is why I like Gladiator so much, because he like always like splits his damage, right? It's not just Incinerate, it's not just burst damage, it's like a mix of a ton of stuff. And I like when champs do that, because like if one defender's like, you know, immune to something, or like, you know, has resistance to something, you know, the other damage forms can help Gladiator still do the fight pretty well. So yeah, here I dropped the SP2 again, and this matchup is now over essentially. So yeah, very, very fun one. Howard the Duck, pretty straightforward boss, but also pretty complicated as well. And yeah, Gladiator at rank 3 is just honestly super fun and honestly pretty powerful as well. He does good in Battlegrounds now, which is a massive, massive thing these days, and he's still a very fun quester, and he just feels like the proper Summoner's Choice champion now. So let me know your thoughts on Gladiator, and yeah, that's about it for me.